What's good? What's good? Welcome to the Epic Entertainment Critics. I'm Antoine.
And I'm still James.
And we got us an epic movie review for y'all today. We got the Baz Luhrmann's Elvis 2022 biopic of Elvis. So, yeah, we about to review this. And, yeah, we saw it over the weekend. I would like to have got done this Friday. We didn't get a chance to. But, yeah, it was actually a pretty good movie to me. It was pretty long, but
Yeah.
it didn't have to be that long. But sometimes biopic do that or whatever. And they kind of glossed over some stuff, and we're going to get in depth in that. But it was a good movie overall. So we got the Elvis, and we're going to go ahead and check this trailer out for the Elvis, and then we'll be back with our full review. So we got the short. I always do the shorter trailer on the when we kind of revisit the trailer. So we got the trailer for Elvis, and we'll be back with our full review.
From Baz Luhrmann, the director who reimagined Shakespeare, reinvented the musical, and redefined a classic, comes a bold new vision of an American icon.
But this ain't no nostalgia show. We're gonna do something different.
Comic book heroes all find their superpowers. Elvis found music.
Bring that bass up, Jerry.
I wish to promote you, Mr. Presley.
I believe I can be great. Some people wanted to put me in jail. It's the way I was moving.
Don't so much as wiggle a finger.
I'm gonna show you what the real Elvis is like.
In that moment, Elvis, the man, was sacrificed. And Elvis, the god, was born.
I would do anything to make sure my mama and daddy never have to live in poverty ever again.
I think if you dream it, you'll do it.
You know?
Yeah.
Colonel, you put an end to your boy's animal behavior, or we will.
There's a lot of people saying a lot of things. But in the end, you gotta listen to yourself. You bled me dry, and you still want more?
I am a promoter. That is what I do.
The way you sing is God-given, so there can't be nothing wrong with it.
Are you ready to fly?
I'm ready to fly.
Elvis, rated PG-13, Friday.
All right, that's that Elvis, Baz Luhrmann's Elvis. What you think of the movie? You didn't make no comment yet.
I don't want to say enjoy is not the right word. I found it very intriguing. It's a lot of movie. It's just a lot of movie, man.
Well, they went through his whole life. His whole life, and from him being discovered to pretty much his death. It was kind of like when you watch and they do this in biopics. They always got to have like a narrator.
Yeah,
Is either somebody close to him or it's the actual person.
yeah.
In this case, they used Tom Parker, Colonel Tom Parker, well, Elvis' manager, and it's famously known that they had a big falling out before his death. I guess maybe like in the early 70s, I guess he started realizing, okay, this dude is not helping me; he's hurting me. And they had that big falling out. So I don't know if his estate had a lawsuit.
They did take him to court.
Okay.
They did take him to court.
Which I saw they put in very small text what the end result of that at the end of the movie, and I was like, wait, what they say? I couldn't really read it, so I had to go back and check it out. But I know that they took him to court with it. I don't know exactly how they ended it.
Yeah, so like he severed all ties with the estate.
Right. Okay, so starting off from young Elvis being discovered, did you like how that was handled? Where it just cracked me up I laughed. And I would look. I went to the movies. It was like all old white people there, and they was cracking up too. And certain stuff that I just thought was funny, but they was laughing their ass off.
I had a small but mixed crowd, and that was pretty much like everyone was like, "Look at this."
Well, the part where he was like, they was playing this song. It was like, I guess it was rhythm and blues with a little country in it, and the dude was like a country singer that he was promoting it for. What was his name? What's his name? Like
Hank Snow.
Yeah, when we go see the Hank Snow story because he was funny. But they was saying that they played this song. They was like, "Oh, this song been just kind of hit." They was like, "Oh, that's Negro rhythm. I don't do that. That's Negro rhythm." It's a white man,
Like,
but they didn't say white. They said white.
There's a moment there where it's like, yeah, they talking about putting him on the hayride. They ain't gonna put no Negro on the hayride. No, that's the thing. That's a white boy.
Dude, look, I know that I don't know if Tom Hanks meant to be funny, but he had these looks in the movie when they said it's a white man. Ding, like
A white man? Like
he played it. He was a cartoon character.
Like I was waiting to see the dollar signs, man.
The dollar sign and a light bulb. They might as well just did that because he played it so goofy that it was almost like, is this a comedy? I mean, it was not too many comedic situations, but it seems like Tom Hanks thought he was in a comedy. You know what I'm saying?
Well, like that's the thing. He's my favorite part of this movie. I'll say, what's the guy's name that plays Elvis? I've already forgotten. Again.
Austin Butler.
Austin Butler. He comes in a close second, but Tom Hanks does everything in this movie.
Yeah, no. And you kind of can look at it as it's kind of his movie too, because it's from his point of view. Yeah. So he kind of like the narrator and telling you like, hey, people say that I destroyed Elvis. I didn't. I made him. And all that stuff. And it's kind of like he was a bad person, but from his point of view, the way he was telling it, he wasn't a bad person.
Even the way he tells the story, he has these ad libs. Where it's like, there's a scene where Elvis and his mama talks like, "Ain't nothing ever gonna come between us." Cut back to him. Yo, wanna bet?
Yeah, stuff like that had me rolling, man. Especially the part, and I don't want to skip too far ahead, but the part when he told Elvis to do something and he did something different, and when he was running to stop him or whatever, when he wanted to do the Christmas special, and then he's like, well, that's not. Hold on, I got it. And he's like a burly run because he got the cane, and it was comical.
It was, yeah.
And it was just kind of a shift, a tone shift from the way everything else was played. Yeah. Like it's almost like everybody else was doing a drama biopic.
He's
he
a
was
cartoon
in a
character in an art film.
Yeah,
like everybody else is like doing high art. And
look like Elmer Fudd.
Yeah. It's great, man. I love that. That part of it I did love.
Right. I don't know if that took people out or whatever, because I mean they played everything else straight.
Yeah.
Austin Butler actually did an amazing job. I kudos to him for my opinion. He captured Elvis because I saw Elvis. Like I felt like this was Elvis.
To be fair though, a lot of that it seems is kind of already in him. Like
right.
He has a similar,
it wasn't hard for him because
he has a similar tone.
Yeah,
cadence, tonality. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I agree, but sometimes when you do biopics, I have to get used to them because it's so not there.
Yeah.
And once they start doing a good job, you kind of get lost in it. You be like, okay, it's them.
You don't question it with this,
right? I was there from the beginning.
There's a bit towards the end where they start changing the lens so it's a little grainier, and they flip back and forth between the stuff they shot for the movie and the footage from the actual.
Right. Like the audience reactions and all that stuff.
And I'm like, it took me a minute to figure out, is that really Elvis or is that still Austin Butler? And
right. So that's good. Where if I couldn't tell, where stuff like on Bohemian Rhapsody, like you could, Rami Malek don't look that much like Freddie Mercury, but that in that movie it took me a minute to get into the I had to get into it to believe he was Freddy, because he didn't look, he didn't remind me of. But yeah, I thought he did a great job. And besides Colonel Parker cracking me up, I just like, my favorite stuff in this movie was the first half. His early years. I'm not sure how you felt about which what was your favorite, but my favorite was showing when he first started, and then when he started to get popular, when basically his dance, right? One thing I'm gonna give him, he made up his own dance, right?
It looks that way.
Right.
Looks that way.
I hope he didn't see somebody else. He was kind of inspired by, like, he saw like Little Richard on stage, kind of getting into it with the crowd. Like, okay, but his dance moves are just like like he didn't probably rehearse. It didn't look like he rehearsed it. It was just out the top of the dome.
Like he was just feeling it.
Yeah. Well, then kind of just the wiggling the hips was just something he doing.
Yeah.
And that's like, and then I like when the dude was like, hey, when he was recording.
And
dude was like, hey, don't do all that moving shit. We got to record this. He's like,
I can't move. I can't sing.
Right. It's like
that,
it's kind of.
I do love that line.
Right, his thing or whatever. I like that. But yeah, I really enjoyed the first half of the movie. I like the second half too, but the first half I was having a lot of fun with. How do you feel about?
I think because part of it is the first half is where you see Elvis, the man, before he becomes Elvis, the brand.
Right, yeah.
And so it's a lot easier to get into that. It's a lot easier to vibe with that. And then once you see that switch come, it's almost like it's depressing.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like anytime like they do these biopics on pop stars, where it's like you see them like they love performing, they love singing, and then it's like it becomes the job.
Yeah, right.
And then things get depressed.
But it didn't seem like he had a problem. He didn't have a problem with performing. It was everything else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And people dragging him down and everybody depending on him. But it seemed like he was always happy on stage, even though he was doing it more than, he was wearing himself down doing all that stuff. But yeah, like I said, the first half, and even that if we saw that little featurette, I started really liking the fashion. Now, I guess I don't know if they use his exact suits or whatever, but I was like, man, them suits kind of nice. Like I was feeling some of them suits he was having on.
That red one, dark red one.
Yeah, that one. A couple of them look nice, man. I was like, I guess that was more in the 50s and 60s before the 70s. The 70s, that's when he started getting a little. He started getting a little WWE looking with his outfit in the 70s, but in the 60s, I liked them them clothes. I guess he went to a fashion dude where B.B. King went to. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's. They kind of played it like that.
But it looked like there was some tailor on Beale Street he liked back in the day.
Right.
He got his start fashion wise.
Right. Now I like those suits.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Them Negro suits.
I know. It's like, okay. I don't know what's. I guess that was the fashion for more blacks to wear certain suits like that. But I was feeling no shit. But yeah, I did like that, man. I think they kind of glossed over some stuff though, and they was moving, and it for a long movie too. And it's funny, for a movie that's very long, I felt like things were rushed, and that's weird.
Yeah, it's like because they kept trying to get to these moments between him and Colonel Parker, and I feel like that was at the expense of a lot of big moments that they hinted at, like between him and his bandmates.
Right.
That like you see tension building, but before it can come to a head, we gotta get to this bit with where he and Colonel Parker had their conversation.
Yeah.
And then it's on to the next show.
Right, but see, and they didn't really give nobody else besides him, Tom Hanks and Austin Butler. It wasn't nobody else got for real that much screen time. No, so it was like they called the Memphis Mafia.
The Memphis Mafia,
yeah, his little group, his little crew or whatever. I didn't feel like I knew them at all.
Like, cause
not that I had to know them, but I wanted to feel what they was doing to him too.
Well, like, cause they introduced them.
A little
bit. They had they had the scene where they're all on the bus and it shows you everybody's name, and that's about as much headroom as they get.
Yeah.
You know, and when you like, especially like some of these are people who wrote tell-all books on Elvis after he passed. You know, and it's like this dude was with him from the beginning. This dude was with him from this stage to this stage only.
Basically, his entourage, and I guess they did his band too, right? Didn't they?
The Blue Moon Boys,
right?
But got folded into that, I think.
Right. I guess they might have. Hopefully, they did. They had a function other than just being there. But what I was getting at is they. I didn't see how they affected him because they didn't give them no presents. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Well, like, that's the thing is you're watching this, and it's like, you know these are supposed to be the people he's like, nah, wherever I go, they go. I bring them with me. Yeah. And they just become background noise.
Very much so. And I can't remember not one of their names or whatever.
Yeah, I think 2 of them had speaking lines.
Yeah, right. And they showed one of them giving him a one pill. And it was like, Is that what we're gonna do? That's all we're gonna show with the drug use. One dude was like, "Hey, take this. Look like an aspirin." Yeah. Like so they gave you a little taste of that, and then later they kind of show a little more drug use.
Though I will say one thing I did enjoy in this movie is you can see threads of his own personal demons in his parents. Yeah, his father's indecisiveness, his mother's drinking. You know.
And I saw that, and I was like, yeah, you know what? Why? So his father's in charge of was his manager in charge of the Elvis LLC or whatever they had. Like he had like a Colonel Parker set up
like
that
Elvis Presley Enterprises.
Yeah, right. And I think this is part of his plan was put somebody incompetent in charge. That way I can do whatever I want. You know, and plus these are low income people from Mississippi. Not Mississippi. Were they from Mississippi? No, Tennessee, Memphis, right?
Memphis, yeah.
Or if they would just move from Memphis, whatever. But they was probably not. His father wasn't educated. Elvis, I don't think was. I guess he was. He seemed bright though. I don't know if Elvis was like highly educated. So especially not on money. Yeah. You know, them being poor, which let Colonel Parker pretty much just take advantage of them all the way. You know, financially.
Because that and. I think this is something that happens when a lot of people who come from the bottom and hit it big have this issue of, well, now we can get everything we ever wanted. Right. Most of that stuff is just a money sink.
Yeah, I know. And they do this. This is a common story with when you see these rags to riches, most of the times with celebrity music acts or whatever, where they come up and they buy their mama house. They got a brand new car. Mm-hmm. You know, they got a private jet. They got this. I mean, you know, where else the limit? And then a couple years later, it's, you know, we got to take that house. You know, you about to take that car. You ain't got this. You ain't got that. You know, and so it wasn't a downfall as far as money, but it was more where we started seeing how Colonel Parker was taking advantage. And then they showed from his point of view where it was funny how they made it seem like he was about to get beat up by the mafia or something, like where they was like, yeah, it's time to settle your debts. I was like, was it that serious? Dude on a cane, what you gonna do?
Well, it's like, life did most of the beating for you. I mean, what you gonna do?
But no, like I said, I like that first half, man. And the second half was more into as he got older. But real quick, how'd you like how they handled the Priscilla Presley?
It made me uncomfortable. Like they it looked like they went out of their way not to mention just how young she was.
I was gonna say they made the opposite. They tried to make you feel comfortable. Because if they would have said what really happened, that would have made you feel a little uncomfortable.
Because it's like, I feel uncomfortable for knowing that the situation was what it was, and seeing that they're trying not to make it look like that situation.
Yeah, they needed to address it a little more. Like, the way they played it out wasn't bad, but the fact that they didn't mention that she was 14 at all is a problem. Like, okay, y'all at least got to mention it. Like, even if you say, like, they could have done something like, hey, we're not going to have sex yet. We're going to just, be friends until, it's time or something like that.
Something.
But basically, they played like a straight up romance.
Yeah.
Like he met a girl that swept him off his feet, and they end up falling in love and getting married. That's it.
Yeah.
They didn't mention that she was 14 and he was 23.
Yeah. And something we talked about off camera, but I know it has to be said. The gap isn't the problem. The age gap is not the problem.
Right.
It's the age.
Yeah, right. But I mean, the thing is, the way he did it, he didn't marry her till she was 18, and he said they didn't sleep together till after she was 18.
Right. And you could call that grooming.
Right. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I ain't mad at him, but it's the fact that the movie did not address it.
It's one of those things.
They said that his teenage daughter. They said that she's a teenager.
Yeah.
But that could be 18, 19.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I think for a lot of folks, it's the issue of they don't want to think about it because it makes them feel uncomfortable. But it does kind of need to be addressed just so you can get through it.
Yeah. So I'm looking like, okay, they glossed over it, but she had a presence in the movie as his wife. Yeah. And it's funny, the girl they chose,
she feels older than him.
Dude, right.
Like, not even looks, she feels
She looked like
older.
she at least 25 or so. The girl they chose, I'm looking like, are you kidding? That girl does not look 14. She looks older than him.
Because, like, their dynamic like, I've known people who, like, dudes in their 20s who are, like, in committed relationships with women in their mid-30s.
Right.
And it's like, she's got her stuff together. She's trying to get him to get his stuff together. Like, she feels like the older partner in their relationship watching this movie.
But I would say, as the movie went on, I did feel that they loved each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Very much so.
Right. So it like I said, I wasn't even mad at it. Just the fact that like they at least could mention it.
Yeah.
And I guess they felt like they was mentioning it by saying that he fell in love with such and such teenage daughter.
Yeah.
Okay. No. Oh, but so how'd you like the fuck the police moment? Because they pretty much played it the same way they did in Straight Outta Compton.
Oh man.
Where like if you do this, we gonna bust your ass, and he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna do it, I promise. And he get on stage and he do it.
Like,
and
I love
told him he wiggle his hips. If you wiggle as such as one finger,
and then he went and called his shot when he got up there.
Yeah. And it's like the hell with that, and just got going.
I mean, I respect it.
That was probably my favorite scene.
Yeah.
Only because when he was dancing, first of all, I like that song. I don't know what song was. What you said, I'm evil?
Yeah.
Okay. So when he would wiggle his hip, then he kind of like get on, like he kind of, Michael Jackson might have got it from him, or he said get Booth James Brown, but to get on his toes.
Yeah. I
was like, okay, the dance move was kind of sick. I was like, the dance move was kind of sick right there. And I like it with that song. It was kind of it was a cool ass scene. I like that.
I mean, like he basically just pulled it. Okay, are we still recording?
Yes, we are. I don't know what that was.
That was weird. It's like that bit in Scarface. Like, all right, I'm the bad guy. And it's like, go ahead, I'll be your bad guy. Forget y'all.
But I mean, it was to a point where they kind of played it as everybody was telling him to be,
wider,
right? And he was like, "That's not me. I don't feel comfortable, and I can't get in my rhythm. I need to
like
move."
They even clowned him on the show, put him in tails, brought out the dog.
I think I slightly remember that, bringing out a hound dog and all that stuff. And and he played like he didn't know it was about to happen, and then he was like, that was embarrassing, and everybody was like, that shit, let's not do that shit ever again, or whatever. Which I don't know if he agreed to it, or if that was all. The way they play the movie is Tom Parker wanted to do that. Because he has background in carnivals, right, sideshow and shit, so he was just like, oh yeah, we need to do something crazy, whatever, which was stupid. It's like, it's like you just be patient, even if it didn't sell this time. Just let it play out.
Like, I think that's one thing that makes some of that stuff make more sense to me is knowing that's where he comes from.
Yeah.
So if he was from the music industry, he would have said, all right, look, we need to hit this, this, and this.
Yeah.
We need this many dates a year, yada, yada, yada. We got to get you out there. But because he's from that carnival background, it's like we got to get him for everything we can, milk it dry, and then move on
like
to the
a
next.
side show.
Yeah.
You know, that hound dog thing was like that's.
Man.
Yeah, I'm glad he then I didn't. You know, it was pretty good because there's different parts of his life, right? So this is I guess this is the late '60s, and he started to fall off. And a lot of people's like, yeah, your career ain't going where you wanted to go. That's when he started doing the Christmas specials and all that. Everybody's like, yeah, Elvis ain't who he was.
Yeah.
And he wanted to reinvent himself. And that's when he hit the leather jumpsuit or whatever, and I seen a lot of people take that style or whatever. I guess that's, and I didn't know, you know, I guess he kind of talked to some people like, now I need to reinvent myself. What should I do? And it was that's where more of the rock and roll kind of look come in to play. You know what I'm saying? Maybe more of you know.
Yeah.
I like that. I kind of like that look too.
Like it's all right, but more than that, I enjoyed the process of trying to reinvent himself, trying to get back to who he used to be.
Yeah.
I think that's really good storytelling, but also it's really interesting to watch it happen.
I think another thing they don't realize in the music industry, they didn't realize in the music industry that songs, once it fade out, it comes back because cycles, but they think, oh, this dude ain't who he used to be, and Colonel Parker got him start doing more bull crap just to keep making money. But if you just let the songs just kind of sit, or just, you know, if you kind of just sit for a minute, the shit will come back and people will come back. But, you know, I just feel like them, it's like if okay, your stuff not selling like it used to be, and you just, well, now just start doing this show, and they like you start notice how they do this on these biopics where a person falling off and they just start doing things that's beneath them.
Yeah,
you know, and
I feel like because again, there's not a lot of dignity in Tom Parker, the way Tom Parker approaches showbiz, right. And once you embrace that limits your shelf life.
Right.
Because, like, if you at least approach it with dignity, like, hey, look, I came in, I did my bit. If y'all ain't interested anymore, that's fine, but I'm going to keep doing me. Then that tends to keep you stable more than trying to chase the next bag.
Right. Right. And that's what I see. Like, it's a lot of musicians that stay relevant, even if they ain't doing nothing currently. They can still stay relevant because their music can last for forever, for real. If it's a classic, you know. Where you got like Beatles, you know, selling big now, you know. But I did. I like his reinventing himself. But then once we get to them later years, the 70s, where he started to put on the weight, which they did not do good enough to me.
Like they
didn't show a progression of the weight.
Yeah, they told you he got big, and then you see.
I guess he's wearing like a little pouch or something.
Yeah. He got like a poncho.
He's a thin guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, I guess it's kind of like a just go with it. We know that Elvis was putting on weight. But there's one scene he's like, yeah, I'm about to be 40 years old. And I'm like, yeah, you look 21. Yeah. I know Elvis was a good looking guy, but he did age like everybody else. And they didn't do anything to age up Austin.
Nah, like if anything, they made him look a little sickly, which aged him down in a bad way. So it's like he comes off looking like a sick 18.
Right.
He's supposed to be a getting sick 39.
That was my problem with the later years. They didn't do anything to make him look any different because he looked like Elvis, and you know he did a great job. His well, I ain't gonna say impersonation. His
embodiment.
Yeah, portrayal of Elvis was on point. But his once he got old, it's like make me believe that he's getting sick and old because he still look like a young, healthy guy.
Yeah.
But I really do like certain scenes where, like I was telling you before, when he just blew up at Colonel Parker or whatever, and his acting was great to me because I felt that.
Yeah,
you know,
that felt like some genuine rage.
Yeah, and he still
didn't come out of character,
right, and he still kind of kept the whole accent and the tone and all that. So that was good, man. I'm gonna tell you another thing though. A couple of scenes though. I was talking about how cartoonish Tom Hanks was, but a couple of scenes he kind of got me. Like when his mama died and Colonel Parker was consoling him, but it was to his own benefit.
Yeah.
But I kind of knew that, but then I kind of felt like, damn, I'm getting choked up a little bit with the way he, and I'm like, man, this dude full of crap, but he would have probably got me for a minute.
That's another thing though. Like, there's two things that always get me is when someone plays a bad actor, because like you had to be pretty skilled to pull that off and for it not to look like fake, like to look like someone that just doesn't know what they're doing.
Right.
But also to act as someone who is acting, to where I feel like there's a performance in the performance.
Yeah.
Like, I know you're full of shit.
Right.
I know it.
But I'm just saying, if I was
there,
I would have
bought it.
Right, I would have bought it, and I would have probably, I don't know if I would have stayed that long.
Yeah.
But I would have.
It's like, it's just, you can see the artifice in it, but you can also understand how someone would take it as truth.
Yeah, and right, so I had a moment where it would remind me of same thing with Tupac and Suge Knight, where all right, I'm done with my contract. I'm gonna go ahead and move on. Oh, okay, well, before you do that, let me show you what you owe me. My dude gave him a bill for that first hayride.
Dude,
do you remember that? He's like, you owe me $1 for a hayride in 1958.
Look, because like the thing that got me is like the end number doesn't even bother me, but the level of nickel and diming, like, all right, that was $1.
You
that was
remember
$2.50.
that? I ain't give you that.
That was $3.77. It's like that. Now I would have asked you for the full $5, but I got a discount on that, so I ain't gonna hit you for the rest of that $5. Like, he went through everything,
dry cleaning, all kind of shit.
Everything. Look, I got you. Remember that time we were stuck on the side of the road and I got you a bottle of water? I'm gonna need that back.
Yeah. So yeah, man, it was actually a pretty good movie. Bit long, but it was good. Before we close up, man, how'd you feel about when they did the last performance and Elvis looked real bad on that last performance?
He looked horrible.
And they put the makeup on Austin Butler. How'd you feel about? Did he look like him? First, I said, "Oh, he looked." I said, "No, he don't. He looks silly." And then I saw the real. I was like, "Oh shit, he looked just like him."
Like, 'cause that was my thing. I'm like, man, he looked effed up. Oh, he looked.
Because when they showed the actual real performance, I'm like, yeah, that's about the. Yeah. They did good with the makeup.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird to see, but again, that's one of those things. Like,
his face was real puffy,
man. And that jumpsuit wasn't hiding nothing.
Right. I mean, they showed. I mean, he did look like he was not well.
Yeah.
And
because when they show you the
that was
actual
like
footage,
they said 3 days before he died, and he was like he could barely
talk. Though I will say this, to Elvis's credit, and I'll say this too, to his fans' credit, even when he's incoherent and can't barely talk or walk, he can sing his ass off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right. I did notice though. You know what? I ain't gonna say it. I don't want nobody get mad. He kind of like messed up that last note.
Yeah.
But he looked like he was talking to his guy over there. Like, yeah, I messed that up. That's cool, whatever. I get to, and I was like, and that's because but he was sick though. I mean, he did
and strung out.
Right, I know. So, but he still sounded good.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You're right though. He sound good. Even though the condition he was in, he could still sing.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought it was a good movie, man. I'm gonna go ahead. I'll give it. Out of all the biopics, Bohemian Rhapsody, the James Get On Up, it's actually, I'm gonna give it a nice. It's up there with them. with all them, and I think it's probably the better of all of those other biopics. To tell the truth, not saying that if I'm if you're an Elvis fan or not, on a movie standpoint, I think the movie holds up as a credible biopic. But
because the thing that's giving me trouble is like I don't know if it's the best portrayal of someone's life out of all the biopics I've seen,
right?
But it's definitely the best made.
Best made, right?
Yeah.
Because I think they glossed over so much stuff, which is funny for a movie that's over 2 hours to gloss over things.
Yeah.
Which they do this in all these biopics. They did the same thing in the James Brown biopic where they glossed over his drug use.
Yeah.
Where they just showed him lacing a joint with something.
Yeah.
But we know James Brown did a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
He was high on TV. He was high on coke in the interview. So, they do this and all these. So I can't really hold
I think
them.
part of that is just agreements with the estates.
Right. So I'm not gonna hold it against them put it up to other biopics. I give it a dope compared to other biopics. But overall, I'm gonna give it. I want to just give it an all right, but I think it's a better movie than just all right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just give it a low dope. That's my rate. I'm gonna give it a low dope.
Yeah, because I definitely enjoyed it more than I expected to.
Yeah.
I also didn't enjoy it as much as I would have liked to. As far as the filmmaking goes, like the way they picked those shots was amazing. Some of the effects were kind of like exceedingly impressive.
Yeah.
The things that took me out of Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet work here. Like that over the top, high flying film style.
Right.
That comes off really weird in a more intimate story because this is both intimate and it's a show.
Right.
And it feels like this movie feels like Elvis more than it looks like Elvis.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. What'd you give it?
I'm gonna give this one a dope. In fact, it's a solid dope for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what I didn't like, and before finish real quick, when they added hip hop in there, I was like,
I was waiting to hear you say that.
I forgot, but yeah,
the
I
second
did not
I heard
like
that song, because it's the one from from the trailer.
They
too.
trying to sell their soundtrack. That's all they trying to do.
Yeah. When I heard that, I'm like, oh, Twan ain't gonna like this.
Hell no, you got a period piece. Stop trying to squeeze in hip hop in certain, especially this movie.
Like,
I'll
I'll even say it was a good pick for the scene as far as the energy goes, but the sound was completely wrong.
They done this in other times. It's a period piece, no hip hop. I wouldn't like them to use no songs past the time that this was in.
Like maybe a cover of a song that was big back then, I would have accepted.
Maybe, but I don't like when they do that. When you're doing something, a true story that's supposed to be in this time, don't use a song out of that time. My opinion.
Because like I this is how I look at it. Just real quick for soundtracks, pick the song that would be in the character's head. If it wouldn't be in their head, it shouldn't be playing.
Right. But anyway, all right. So that is our review for Elvis. Baz Luhrmann's Elvis. So yeah, anybody that enjoys our content and likes our reviews and trailer reactions, please subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you get alerts anytime we post new videos or if we live stream.
And if you like this, hit that thumbs up down below and don't forget to comment. We'd love to hear y'all thoughts on this movie.
Yes, we out here, yeah.
Peace.